students, welcome back to this video series. This is your instructor Dhruvi Bhatt, and today we would talk about the most talked about topic, that is money. What is money? Why do you require money? What are different functions of money? What type of money should be there in an economy? All these questions are answered in this particular lecture. Starting with first things first, why is money required? What is the need of money? As we all know, we evolved from a system, and initially there was nothing in the economy known as money. Something behind which we all are running. We spend our entire lives earning this thing. That particular thing didn't even exist. Then, how come money was invented and why money was invented? What were the problems in barter system? We all know that initially barter system was in being in the economic system. As we all know, in the barter system, people used to exchange goods for goods. If some person was producing wheat and the other person was herding sheep, then they would exchange sheep for some amount of wheat. That was barter system. What was wrong in this barter system and why we invented money? The first problem with barter system is lack of divisibility of goods. All the goods which were being exchanged in the barter system were not divisible. You cannot divide one sheep into different parts for getting some kgs of wheat. If instead of one sheep, I need 2 kgs of wheat, 2 kgs of mangoes and 2 kgs of rice, it was difficult because I cannot divide the sheep into different parts. This was one of the problem. The second problem was lack of double coincidence of wants. Here the problem is everyone had certain goods, but each person didn't necessarily want something in exchange whatever the other person wants to give them. For example, I am producing mangoes in my farm. I am producing mangoes, and instead of mangoes, I want wood from some person. But the person who is producing wood doesn't want mangoes. Then what should I do? I need to go to some person who wants mangoes. That person will take mangoes, and instead of that he will give me eggs. I will take eggs to the person who is giving me wood. He will give me wood and take away the eggs. Until and unless there are only 3 people in the economy, this sounds even a little bit possible. As population increases, this will become a huge chaos. For this, you will need something which is desirable by everyone. In barter system, the problem was the goods were not necessarily desired by everyone. Everyone didn't want whatever you are trying to exchange. That led to a problem in barter system. One more problem was lack of unit of measurement. Who will decide that how much 3 kgs of wheat is worth? Instead of 3 kgs of wheat, I must get 2 kgs of rice, or whether I should get 3 kgs of rice, or whether wheat and mango must be of same measure. Instead of 3 kgs of wheat, you give me 3 kgs of mango. Are both of them equally valuable? Instead of 1 diamond, how much wheat must I give? There was a problem in unit of measurement. There was no unit of measurement. That is why barter system didn't work. The last problem in barter system was difficulty in storage. If no one is ready to exchange my mangoes right now, I cannot store it for a future date. I cannot store it and exchange it after 2 years because right now no one wants to take mangoes, and I also do not want anything in exchange. There was no possibility of storage. All the goods were not easily stored, and that is why barter system was not very successful. It led to invention of money, and money had certain exclusive characteristics. What are different characteristics of money? The first thing which money must be is durable. It must be durable because it is something which must be able to used over a period of time. We must be able to use money even after years, only then it can solve the problem of barter system. All the notes and coins must be durable in nature and they must not get withered due to wear and tear. The second characteristic of money is that it must be portable. It must not be very huge in size. It must be easy to carry from one place to another. Then only it would be better than barter system. In barter system, it was difficult to carry goods beyond countries. But nowadays, using money, you can take money wherever, whenever, and in whichever country you want, in whichever cities you want. Money is portable and it makes the economy easier. Moreover, money must be divisible. There must be smaller units for a larger note. A note of 2000 must have smaller change of 2000. I must have 500 rupees, I must have 20 rupees, I must have 100 rupees, I must have 50 rupees. If there is 10 rupees, 10 rupees must also be divided into 5 rupee coins. Money must be divisible into smaller units. Otherwise, it will lead to inflation. Imagine there is only one currency in the market, which is 2000 rupee note, and it is not divisible into any smaller unit. Then everything will be charged in multiples of 2000 only. How much inflation would happen then? So, money must necessarily be divisible. Moreover, money must also be uniform in nature, which means a 10 rupee note in Ahmedabad must look exactly same in Bombay. Within entire country, it must be uniform. It must buy me a product worth of 10 rupees in Ahmedabad as well as in Bombay. So money must be uniform. Moreover, money must be scarce. Only then it will be valuable. Only the things which are scarce are valuable. So money must be scarce. Only then it will be valuable. Also, money must be acceptable. Everyone must know that this is a 20 rupee note or this is a 2000 rupee note, and in return of that money, I must get my goods. It must be an acceptable mode of exchange, so that here we do not have the problem of coincidence of wants. Both the persons or everyone in the economy must be wanting money, must accept money as a unit of exchange. That is the characteristics of money, that it is acceptable. That was all about characteristics. Let us know different functions of money. To remember the functions easily, remember 4 things. Money is medium, measure, standard, store. Let us see these functions in details. First and foremost, money is medium of exchange. Money is utilized as a medium of exchange. In exchange of money, you can buy any product or service. Secondly, money is a measure. It is used as a measure of value. You can measure the value of any commodity in terms of money, whether it is a diamond or it is simply coal. You can measure the value of any product or commodity or service in terms of money. Suppose I tell you that 1 kg of rice is worth of 10 rupees and there is a bag of 30 kgs of rice lying there, then you can easily say that that bag is worth 300 rupees. You can measure the value of rice using money. Thirdly, money is standard of deferred payments. Deferred payment means delayed payment. Money is effectively used for payment at a future point of time. I'll give you an example. Suppose one of my friend comes to me and asks me that please give me your phone. I want to use it for 10 days. I'll return it back to you after 10 days or 15 days when I buy a new phone. I would be reluctant to give my phone to the person, to my friend, because its value will decrease in those 10 to 15 days. He or she might use it roughly, he or she might break it, he or she might make the software unusable, anything can happen. But instead, if my friend comes to me and tells me that give me 10,000 rupees, I want 10,000 rupees for 15 days, after 15 days I'll give you 10,000 rupees back and I'll also give you an interest of 200 rupees because I'm keeping the money for 15 days. So I would happily give my friend 10,000 rupees because the value of money increased. Instead of 10,000 I am getting 10,200. After 15 days I am getting an interest. That is why money is effectively used as a standard of deferred payment. You can effectively use for delayed payments. This is how the concept of loans came into being. People will take up loans and at a later point of time, they will pay the loans with interests. So, money is effectively used as a standard of deferred payments. Lastly, money is used as store of value. Yes, I cannot store mangoes. Yes, I cannot store other perishable goods. But money is something which I can store in my bank. It will not decay or it will not degrade. Instead, it will appreciate because I will get interest on the stored money. So, it is used as store of value. These are 4 major functions and important functions of money. It is a medium of exchange, measure of value, standard of deferred payments, and lastly, store of value. Remember this thing, students. Moving forward, let us try to understand the different types of money which are used over a period of time. First and foremost, we all are aware that the first type of money being used was commodity money in the barter system, where products were used as money. The second type of money which was introduced was fiat money. Fiat money is the money having no intrinsic value, which doesn't have any intrinsic value, but it is self-sufficient to act as money. I'll give you an example. Say, for example, students, if nowadays, today, we use gold coins as money, would you prefer spending it or storing it? You will store it. Because gold, the metal is worth much more than whatever is imprinted on it. Suppose 5 rupee coin is made in gold, you will obviously store the 5 rupee coins instead of giving out the 5 rupee coin. And imagine all the notes, all the money is imprinted on gold, then everyone will store everything and economy will come to a standstill. Money will not change hands and economy will come to a standstill. To make sure this doesn't happen, you will print notes on something which has lesser value than what is imprinted on that. We print notes on paper because paper has lesser value than the 500 rupee printed on that. That is fiat money. The money which gets its value by the imprintment on the money is known as fiat money. All the cash notes and coins which are used today in different countries as money are fiat money. One more type of money is fiduciary money. Fiduciary money is the money which is promised by the government to be paid to the citizen. If you carefully see the 500 rupee or 2000 rupee or any notes, there is a promise written and there is a signature of the governor of RBI telling that RBI or the central bank of any country is liable to pay the value of 500 rupees to the bearer of this note. Here the government is responsible for payment of money, and that particular type of money is fiduciary money. All the bank checks, all the cash notes, all these account for fiduciary money, the money which is controlled by government. The last type of money in consideration is commercial bank money. Commercial bank money is the money of bank which is used for commercial purposes. It can be online banking, it can be credit cards, debit cards, all the plastic money which we know today. The money used for commercial purposes is commercial bank money. That's it from my side, students. Thank you so much for such patiently listening to me. This is Dhruvi Bhatt signing off. Until next time. Bye-bye.